Make your next move with American Express Business Platinum. You'll get 5 times membership rewards points on flights and prepaid hotels booked on AmexTravel.com. Plus, enjoy access to the American Express Global Lounge Collection. And with the welcome offer of 150,000 points, your business can soar to all new heights. Terms apply. Learn more at americanexpress.com/business-platinum. Amex Business Platinum. Built for business by American Express.
This episode is brought to you by Amazon. Sometimes the most painful part of getting sick is the getting better part. Waiting on hold for an appointment, sitting in crowded waiting rooms, standing in line at the pharmacy, that's painful. Amazon One Medical and Amazon Pharmacy remove those painful parts of getting better with things like 24/7 virtual visits and prescriptions delivered to your door. Thanks to Amazon Pharmacy and Amazon One Medical, healthcare just got less painful.
They're on a school trip. These kids are 17. 17, yes?
I'm sure they
17.
are.
Yeah. And she sat there every dinner time having a bottle of wine.
She's getting smashed.
And I was like, you can't do that on a school trip.
She's got stuff to do.
I'm drinking vodka. I assume it's vodka in her room.
Yeah.
She's crazy.
Welcome, film fans, to episode 106.
Hey everybody, welcome to this episode of Flixwatcher podcast. Today we're joined by Hannah.
Hi.
Ella.
Hello.
And as always, Helen.
Hello.
We'll call them Hella, everyone. It's a collective noun. And we are going to be talking about Miss Stevens.
All films featured in the podcast were available to stream on Netflix UK at the time of recording, and please be aware there will be spoilers and some language that may offend.
So all films were available on Netflix at the time of recording, guys. Just as a bit of a warning, there is some bad language and there will be spoilers. You have been warned.
Hello and welcome to this episode of Flixwatcher podcast. In our studio today, we have Ella and Hannah. If you would like to say hello to our listeners and tell them about the film-related things you do, please.
Hi, my name is Hannah Woodhead. I am the associate editor at Little White Lies magazine. Thank you for that. I love Little White Lies. Good. Yeah. I'm always so happy when people say that because I also love Little White Lies. I started reading it. I mean, they do pay me and I do love that. But I started reading it when I was 16 and then I got the job there and it was kind of like, all my childhood dreams are coming true. But no, I also appear on various podcasts in the BBC talking about movies. And yeah, whenever someone gives me the airwaves or pays me money, I will talk about films for them, basically.
So romantic.
Yeah, I'm a shill.
And what about yourself?
Hi, thank you very much for having me. My name is Ella Kemp. I work as a cinema editor at Culture Whisper, and I also freelance sometimes for Little White Lies, Sight and Sound, and sometimes I'm on the Curzon podcast.
Yeah, fantastic.
Lovely.
We've had the Curzon guys here.
Nice guys.
Good guys.
And we're here talking today about Miss Stevens, which is your choice, Ella.
It is indeed.
Can you tell us briefly why you chose it and also a 2-minute synopsis?
Of course. So for the synopsis of the film, Miss Stevens, it is a film directed by Julia Hart. It is a kind of coming-of-age / road movie type thing, which I think most people will gravitate towards because it features Timothée Chalamet, who lots of people now know for other roles other than Miss Stevens. But in this film, he plays a young teenager, a kid called Billy, who is one of 3 students who goes on a school trip to a drama competition with their teacher, Miss Stevens. So Miss Stevens is played by Lily Rabe, and and it just follows Miss Stevens and these kids on this few days on this trip, as she kind of reevaluates her role as a teacher and her relationship with these students, as well as all the other things that she's dealing with within her own life. And you really see these students come into their own as well, as much individually as I said before, with Miss Stevens.
And why did you choose it for? Sorry.
So, I mean, to anyone who has maybe read or heard or seen anything I've ever said on the internet or anywhere else for that matter, I really like Timothée Chalamet.
It's her brand.
So it is, it's well alive. So, but I actually discovered this film becoming first acquainted with Timothée Chalamet.
How did you first become acquainted with him?
Oh, well, let me tell you. No, so I first saw him in Interstellar.
What? Was he?
Oh, yeah.
He was Casey Affleck's son. No, Matthew McConaughey. He became Casey Affleck.
That's right.
There we go.
Let's get the facts straight.
He grew up to be Casey Affleck.
Right. That's another film altogether. But I first saw him in Interstellar, and I wouldn't say that I was completely blown away with him in that. You know, he was there and he was good, and that was fine. But then when I heard news about Call Me By Your Name, I had seen A Bigger Splash, which is a film directed by Luca Guadagnino. It was his previous feature. And it seemed like an exciting collaboration. And, and since then, I've seen Call Me By Your Name 6 times. So here we are.
6 times?
Six times. Look, you think that's a lot.
I know how much our friends have seen that movie.
We've got some friends and, a lot of other people in the world who have seen Call Me By Your Name many times. But anyway, so I saw Call Me By Your Name and loved it. And then, I was curious. And so I revisited some of Timothée Chalamet's other films. He hasn't been in loads so far, and they haven't all been good. But I think Miss Stevens is really good.
Yeah, I think the other one that was on the tip of my tongue was Lady Bird.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. I didn't know much. Yeah, I when you said it, even now saying Interstellar, I can't remember him being in it in one bit, but he wasn't in any way, shape, or form.
I think he cried in that as well.
Oh yeah,
he has
a
a jag of crying films.
Yeah, he's sad,
Sad boy.
Sad boy. But so you chose it because you loved Timothée.
Sorry, yes.
Yeah, Too long don't read. I love Timothée Chalamet, so that's why.
I chose it because I love Timothée Chalamet, but also I think it was quite interesting. So the film is directed by Julia Hart, who I wasn't familiar with her work as a director, but I know that she has worked a lot with her partner Jordan Horowitz, who also produced the film, and Jordan Horowitz also produced La La Land. So to me, all of those names and words were very attractive, and I'd heard multiple recommendations about Miss Stevens, just saying that it was really lovely, just made you feel good, kind of just like safe, but in a nice way, as opposed to being predictable, being something that just kind of fills a void when you're just a bit stressed. And I first watched it when I was actually at Berlin Film Festival last year, and it was one evening where there wasn't an evening screening or something, and I was just in the top bunk bed in my hostel, and just decided, I was like,
hold on, in a hostel, wasn't it all like 5-star, like glitz and glamour? Yeah,
this is film journalism.
So I got news for you.
This could take a bit of a dark turn, this podcast. So there was an evening off of new films coming up, and so I caught up with Miss Stevens, and it was about a week into the festival, and it was such a welcome change, and I had a really lovely time, and I think of the film very fondly, and yeah.
Because your other films are terrible.
It was a bad year for Berlin, I have to say. I was there last year as well, and it wasn't good.
What are your thoughts on Miss Stevens, Hannah?
I had heard about this film because of being friends with Ella, and because I've been friends with multiple other Timothée Chalamet fans. But I hadn't watched it, so this was all kind of new to me. I knew Lily Rabe from American Horror Story, guys, woo, where she's played multiple roles, I think. And I also knew Lily Reinhardt, is that how you say her name?
Oh, yes.
I know her from Riverdale. So
okay, some big Netflix TV shows.
Okay. I know these two blonde women, so I'll give it a go. And the guy, there's a guy in it who I knew as well. The one who plays
Timothée Chalamet?
The teacher. I knew who Timothée Chalamet was. The teacher, whose name escapes me now.
I can't remember. Yeah, I remember recognising
one of those guys.
Rob Hubel?
Yeah, he's one of those guys that's just in things, you know? And you're like, oh, yeah, there's that guy again. Wonder what he's up to. And then you go down like an Amazon trivia, like,
IMDb list.
IMDb trivia. When suddenly it's 4 a.m, you still haven't finished the film because you paused it to look at the trivia. And real insight into my life.
Did you know Miss Stevens is actually spelt PH in real life, but they changed it for the film?
So yeah, I was just totally like, yeah, I'm up for it. I love these kind of quiet school-based. In fact, you know what? I saw a film at Toronto Film Festival called The Kindergarten Teacher. And
that's coming out soon, isn't it?
It's coming out soon. It's a great, amazing movie.
March.
Really, really good film. So I was like, oh yeah, cool, we're going back to school again. Yeah, go find out about some teachers, see how that goes. And very different movie. But yeah, I was well up for this. I was a teenage drama student. I'm always, kind of down for that. Some competitive speeches. So yeah.
Did it live up to your expectations when you said you were down for it?
Careful now. We're friends.
There's a massive sidestep of the question.
I don't want to upset Ella.
You don't have to upset.
I can take it. I can take it.
It was okay. It didn't blow me away. It's a very sort of quiet film, you know. Nothing wrong with that.
Unassuming.
Yeah, it's, I just don't think it necessarily... There were a couple of good scenes that I thought were very well done, but for the most part, it just, I don't think it kind of resonated with me.
Which scenes did you like?
There's a scene where Chalamet is doing a speech from Death of a Salesman.
Yeah, I thought it was Death of a Salesman. I meant to check it.
Yeah,
just because you said Willie, Willie, wasn't it?
Yeah, Willie Wellman. Yeah, and he's very good. You can kind of see, like, the. Had I been a casting director in 2016, watching that, I would have been like, okay, get this kid in for other things.
Because that's your kind of, if this was Oscar worthy, that's your thing you'd send over to Oscars.
Exactly.
And then that's the thing. Yeah.
That's the scene.
He'd easily say, his agents would just say, watch this. This is the kid.
Yeah. And I think I felt quite sorry for the other kids in the film and for Lily Rabe because he's just so good in this scene. And you're like, oh damn, like this kid's like incredible and you're just kind of there.
It's smart that that bit's kind of further
so
towards
late.
the end of the film. If that opened the film, just be like, look, Timothée Chalamet drama kid, you'd be like, okay, bye. See you now.
Yeah.
I think that was a bit of a problem for the film because I think Timothy was so much better than the other lead actors. I think that was a big kind of like. I knew he was going to get his theme because it's all built up to the other blonde lady. I can't remember what her name is. Saying, I wanted to set up this trip because he's such a good person. He needs to like spearhead our drama thing. So I was like, well, he's going to get his shot, but no one else really did. Lily Rabe, I thought she was workable, but I don't think she really hit the mark in the same way that T-Shells did.
I think that it needed like a very strong female actor opposite Chalamet.
Yeah.
If I think in a dream casting world, someone like Natalie Portman or even Maggie Gyllenhaal, I think would have had the kind of strength of performance to stand opposite him. There's a scene where they kind of have this confrontation, heart to heart, the two of them, Chalamet and Rabe, and I think she just kind of loses it. She doesn't kind of have the right stuff that he does. And it's just some sort of charisma, some command of the camera that he has. And I think you can't kind of produce that. It's just, some stars have got it, some haven't.
Helen, what are your thoughts?
It's interesting that you said Ella nice and safe. It kind of,
oh no, what have I done?
It kind of is that. I'd never heard of this film before, which is kind of strange because this is the kind of film that I should probably
would be on your radar
like or know about. Also like that we've got our own names for Timothy. I like to call him Timothée. Just for fun.
Timothée Chalamet.
Yeah.
T-shirt. What do you say? Have you got a nickname for him?
I'm not really. I call him Chalamet, just like he's a football player.
Rude.
Yeah. No.
Show some respect.
Like you're a teacher, Chalamet. Sorry, Helen. I interrupted you.
Okay. I was aware of him, but not aware of this film. It's almost like this is his kind of audition for Hollywood, isn't it? This is his thing, and I kind of get what you're saying as well. That she's not really convincing all the way through. I didn't really buy her grief, and I don't know whether she was purposely kind of meant to be a bit absent and a little bit not really with it. The only bit where I thought I kind of really believed her was towards the end when she was marking the papers. And
when she was doing some admin.
When she was doing like
when she was tearing these kids down, like red pen here, red pen here.
But that's when I felt that she kind of came alive a bit, and I don't know if that's the actress or the direction, or I don't know, but I think it could have been handled a bit better with someone a little bit more. I don't know.
Would you concur with Maggie Gyllenhaal?
Yeah, I think she would have been amazing in it, and just, I don't know, it's a bit of a strange film.
Well, do you know if anyone else was attached to that role? Because I think like you both, Hannah and Helen, have said, I think it needs a stronger presence there, or a stronger direction for her, because it was a bit like
acted down and sort of beaten down quite quickly by this young child.
By the child and by that other man, this odious other teacher who's there, who's terrible, and she just kind of like, oh, okay, I'll sleep with you.
Yeah, I'll sleep. And then the next night, oh, so now you're married? I'm like, yeah. Okay, I'll go then.
Okay, I'll go. Yeah, and also I have my one issue with the big issue I had with this film is that
let's be clear, you have many issues. You all have many issues.
The biggest issue I have
I'm coming for all of you.
is that they're on a school trip. These kids are 17. 17, yes?
I'm sure they
17.
are.
Yeah. And she sat there every dinner time having a bottle of wine.
She's getting smashed.
And I was like, you can't do that on a school trip.
She's got stuff to do.
And drinking vodka, and I assume it's vodka in her room.
Yeah.
She's grieving.
But it's irresponsible. And I have been on so many school trips in my lifetime.
Yeah, but
But Hannah, your school trips, how many kids... Like, it's not 3 kids with a teacher.
Yeah, in your car, in your personal car. And you're paying for mileage. You're paying
I was
for
just
petrol.
thinking about the risk assessment,
You pay for the
guys.
hotel room. You might as well get hammered.
This is Hollywood, Hannah.
So, Helen used to be a teacher. Have you ever done school trips? Did you ever?
No, I mean, our school, they weren't allowed to leave the
premises.
Oh my God.
So
I'm so sorry.
It was prison, basically.
Yeah, they weren't allowed to go anywhere.
Okay. Would you have got hammered if you went out in school? I'm not going to. Okay. Let's not go down that road.
It.
I thought that was a bit... Obviously tells into the character, but at the same time was...
The vodka in the room I can kind of understand.
Yeah.
But just like, yes, I've got these 3 minors and I'll have a large glass of bread. I was like...
But also, no, that waiter,
Yeah.
he was trying to get her drunk, wasn't he?
All of the men in this film
are terrible.
I mean, they're just not good. Well, I mean,
Sam.
yes. But also, like, even Billy,
Yeah.
the kid. Sorry. But
No,
even
I'll allow it.
even Billy, he's not. I don't think he's not mean, but he is selfish, and I think all of the men in this film are rather selfish, which then creates a bit of a more interesting narrative. Now, I think the waiter is obviously one of the least interesting, But just on that, he's the one who's like, have more wine. And obviously she wants the kids to like her, but also she wants to be able to deal with it. I'd have a glass of wine. If I was sat at that table with Lily Reinhardt's character.
Yeah, God.
I rewatched this film with my mum, and my mum, I can kind of predict the kind of things that she'll like. She's got very good taste, and she was quite into this film, and she quite likes Timothée Chalamet. It's all very good. But Lily Reinhardt's character, every time she came on screen, my mum would just turn to me and just roll her eyes. Now, she's quite a polite lady, and she's very nice about everyone, but she couldn't stand her.
It's an obnoxious character.
I think we all know. Well, I knew people like that at school where you're just like, oh, just
Stop.
please, not now. You're very nice, but also leave me alone.
And she got up on stage and she was bad. It's like,
so it was kind of enjoyable to see her play like that.
Yeah, it was Schadenfreude at
See her
moment. You're like,
downfall.
God.
But also, it's weird that she really wanted this whole trip to happen,
Yeah.
and to the extent that her parents paid for it. And is
Just
it part
to reinstate drama.
to reinstate
I
drama?
think she
They
loves
are patrons
Timothée
of the
Chalamet.
arts, darling.
She loves Timothée Chalamet.
Do you
She
think
loves Chalamet.
That didn't really come across in there.
No, I'm just speculating.
just-
It would be
okay.
nice if she did. Who doesn't?
Just projecting on her.
Yeah.
How does this rank in the? I mean, it's all about Timothée Chalamet.
In the Shannon. That's what I call the Timothée Chalamet canon.
Oh my God.
The
What?
Shannon.
The Shannon.
But hang on, that's now coming from you. That's quite misleading because let's establish one thing.
Michael Shannon?
Yeah, I mean the way I feel about Timothée Chalamet.
Is how Hannah feels about Michael Shannon.
So let's just clarify. That's the Shannon with a C in this case.
Or
Yeah.
No, it's all falling apart.
Shalamar. No, that's
Yeah.
that's a band.
70s pop act.
Yeah.
It's Shannon with I would say Shannon for Michael Shannon and Shannon for Chalamet,
Take it, yeah. Okay. I think I've listened to all of your various points.
I take them on board.
It's like,
now.
This is like a Sainsbury's customer complaint. So we thank you for your feedback.
Now here's what I have to say.
It's like you go to the toilet and it's like, what was your expectations of today? You've got to slap the smiley face. What?
Oh dear. No, and these are all. When I suggested this film, I knew. No, but it's a film that's ripe for discussion.
Yeah, true.
And one thing that I actually realised upon rewatching it is I think that the film has completely the wrong name. And I wonder whether with a different name it would have changed the way that other people might see this film. Because I think when the film has the name of the character, like Maggie Gyllenhaal in The Kindergarten Teacher and stuff like that, you expect it all to ride on that person, on that person's performance.
Yeah.
Same with Beautiful Boy, Lady, but all of them. And I didn't mind Lily Rabe's performance that much. But I think when you're watching this film now, with what we know about Timothée Chalamet and everything else to do with it, you come to this film and you think, but why is it about her? And if it was, called, I don't know, like Billy, Death of a Billy salesman, I don't know.
Death of a Billy.
But it still is about her. I think it's just that his performance in it gets so wildly out of control that it never brings it back.
Yeah.
Because it's still, it does start and end with her, and we're obviously meant to she goes through the process where she kind of relives seeing her mother act in seeing him act, and those two having that conversation and him realising that actually she needs the same kind of care that he does is meant to bring her to this journey at the end. So the journey has been a literal journey as well as, the journey through grief. So that I think that's what the film was trying to do. But because you're drawn to Mr. Timothée, you don't really care about her, and you're like, well, actually, I kind of want to find out a little bit more about him. But the story still tries to drag you back there, which is what I think that's the main problem with this, is that the story, the filmmakers want it to be about her, but we've all taken it to be kind of about him because that's what we were drawn to.
It's a victim of its own success because he's so good, and
I think that would have been the case anyway, regardless of what he did next. I mean, we might not have discovered it, but even if he never made another film, we'd still be sitting here going, why didn't he make another film? He's clearly the lead in it.
With the first shot is her crying. Well, it's her she can't move from watching that play because we don't know at the time, but she's crying, and the ushers trying to get her out can't get her out because she's crying.
Big mood.
And then we find out that obviously, as you said, Helen, it relates to her relationship with her mother,
which comes in quite late into the story.
It comes in quite late, but then I found it underwhelming even when it did come in.
You're like, oh, that's why you're kind of a bit mopey.
Yeah, exactly. That's pretty much it. To want to put a better.
She doesn't commit to her grief, really, does she?
If that's the problem, then and it's only after. And I don't really know what. This is another kind of problem I have. Did Tim say fancy her and trying to get into her pants?
It's kind of half-hearted, isn't it?
And it's like
there's this kind of sexual undercurrent that you're kind of like,
why is he doing this?
What's going on here?
I don't think it is that he has got his sights on her in that way.
I don't think he does.
But he's definitely got some kind of sexual sights on something, somewhere, someone. But I really think that kind of side to it is just a general lonely teenage boy who's frustrated and has all these, hormones. But then I think that his interest in her is really interesting, and I really bought it. And I love the way that he, both in the script and the way that he asks her questions and kind of remembers little details and things, which I think when you see teenage boys on film who develop relationships with anyone, I find that the performances are often very showy in a way that can be really convincing and good, but they're often focused on, look how much I can do, and look at the strain in my eyes and the tears on my cheeks and all of that kind of thing. But I like in this that he puts in a terrific performance, but I really feel like you can tell he's being patient and kind of reacting to what she says and what everyone else does, and it's quite an open performance. And, you know, even if he does end up outshining other actors rather, I think I can sense a kind of effort to
give them room, space.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting comparing this to the sort of other teenage boys he's played, because he's got quite an oeuvre now. You know,
let's talk about the rest of his filmography.
Boy.
Okay.
Got Ella started.
Let's try and rein it in a bit, Ella. I think it's
Well, I'm yet to see Call Me by Your Name.
What's going on?
Just because the moment hasn't arrived for an acceptable viewing surroundings.
What do you feel should be an acceptable viewing surroundings? And then Ella, can you comment on whether it's...
I can help you. Yeah.
Well, I did want to see it at Somerset House last year, but it sold out and I didn't get to see it. So
would that have been acceptable?
Do you know what? I'm not sure it would have been.
It's quite for a first viewing.
Yeah.
It's quite. I think
sitting on the concrete for 2 hours. I don't think it's ideal.
Yeah, and I think you kind of want an immersive experience. You want it to be intimate, so you've kind of got, you know, time to process the film and think about what you've seen and just be very much within it. But I think you also, it looks so beautiful, and this is like irrespective of I call him Tim, irrespective of Tim or, you know, anything else to do with it.
Army.
You know.
Michael Stolberg.
Yeah, was he not Stolberg? Was he not the one for you? On that?
Stolberg's the one for Hannah. Yes.
Oh, goodness. All your Michaels, you know, that's another.
I know.
But yeah, I think I would argue that you want a cinema, you want a big screen, and ideally I'd say like a weekday afternoon when you're one of the only people in there, so you've just got time to, you know, just to react and just be yourself with the film.
The Prince Charles, bless them, the Prince Charles Cinema in Leicester Square, I tweeted them and asked them to put on to replicate a programme that was happening at the Lighthouse Cinema in Dublin, where they would show Call Me by Name followed by Stop Making Sense, the Talking Heads documentary.
How does that make sense?
Because in the film, Elio, who is played by Timothée Chalamet, is a big fan of Talking Heads.
Oh, okay.
And also, I think there is a lot of kind of crossover between the two. But anyway, they did this, and I went to see. So they did like a back-to-back of this at Prince Charles a couple of months ago, and I went with my mates, and we had a great time. It was lovely because Call Me by Name ends on kind of such a like. Not sad necessarily, but it's very melancholy. Yeah, so melancholy and heartbreaking. And then we went into Stop Making Sense, which is one of the most kind of euphoric, like just, you know, there were people like clapping and dancing, and it was you know, that's the kind of environment you want. You want to be surrounded by love and feel the love in the room.
I love the fact you can influence Prince Charles Cinema. I'm going to think of a few things.
You can. They have a blackboard downstairs where you can write down and they'll and tweet them. They're very nice guys.
I do have a bit of a problem with Call Me by Your Name. I love everything about it, and this could be honestly to do with the way of the setting.
I can take it.
But I love absolutely everything about it, apart from I didn't buy the relationship between Elio and Armie Hammer.
That's very central to it. That's not everything, but not that.
But it kind of comes like, you see the kind of build up, and it comes later on and adds like okay, they are interested in each other. Fine. But I saw it at London Film Festival, and it was in the Odeon.
Oh yeah,
previous
that's
Leicester
not an
Square.
ideal setting.
So it's in the main room where it's a huge room with a shitty screen, and I just thought maybe that was it for
They've
me.
redone it now though.
Yeah,
because I saw it there as well.
But isn't it like £43?
Yeah.
So I'm
not sure how that'll go down at this year's
I'll
film
just ask
festival.
Prince Charles Cinema, and then I can go for £5.
Yeah, and actually that's such a nice place to watch it as well, because we were in the upstairs screen, and it was, you know, it was a really like because this was like maybe a year after the film had come out, so everyone there loved the film and just really wanted to see it again, which I think is the really nice thing about
Prince Charles,
you know, that they do that and give you the opportunity to catch things you've missed and also see your old favourites. So I'm just here to promote the Prince Charles.
Sure.
I don't even work.
We talk about Prince Charles a lot.
We do, yeah.
But I think Call Me by Name, Timothée Chalamet is awesome in it. Armie Hammer's brilliant in it. Stolberg was my favourite, just for that one scene. When you see it, Helen.
Just his delivery of the line, what a waste. Sorry, I digress.
I think we should actually head to the scores because we're quite way into it, but Chalamet's good. They're doing a second Call Me by Your Name, which I'm maybe have to
years and years down the line.
Thoughts on a title?
Too Cool, Too Furious.
Yeah.
Call Me Too, Electric Boogaloo. There you go. That's for free.
No.
I think Luke is going to like put a line through that one.
Yeah. He'll read it and then he'll rip it up.
Should we head to the scores, guys?
Let's head to the scores.
Imagine what's possible when learning doesn't get in the way of life. At Capella University, our game-changing FlexPath learning format lets you set your own deadlines so you can learn at a time and pace that works for you. It's an education you can tailor to your schedule. That means you don't have to put your life on hold to pursue your professional goals. Instead, enjoy learning your way and earn your degree without missing a beat. A different future is closer than you think with Capella University. Learn more at capella.edu.
So these are our famous Flixwatcher scores. They're all out of 5. You may have decimal places. The lowest you can go is 0, no minuses. And we will start with you, Ella, because you chose it with your recommendability, please.
I would give this film 4 out of 5 for recommendability. As I said at the beginning, I think it is safe and nice in that I don't tend to be too worried about people disliking it. And I think if people dislike the film or don't like it as much as me, I don't think you'll feel upset or offended or hurt or confused by it. It's just a little bit less.
I like that caveat. If you don't like it, you won't be pissed off by it. You'll just be like, slightly deflated balloon.
No, but I think it's really important to have that distinction because there are some films that people will be recommending to me. They'll be like, oh, it's sensational. And then I'll go in and I'll feel just so angry and just very distressed by it.
And also, it's only 86 minutes. So you've only lost 86 minutes of your time if you didn't enjoy it. Not 3 hours.
Yeah. And I think I would recommend it to most people except people that I know for a fact don't like this genre. So, for example, I watched it with my mum and then my dad came in and I was like, no, don't watch this. You will not like this. I know that for a fact.
What films would you compare it to as a genre? Because it seems like high school, coming of age and road trip in one kind of film. I
would genuinely put it somewhere in the middle between The Kindergarten Teacher and Lady Bird. The Kindergarten Teacher has a very different tone to it, and the student is a very different age, very different nature of the relationship. But that teacher, as we've been saying, is really, really interesting.
Yeah, I'd maybe also throw Charlie Bartlett into the mix. It's a really good film with Anton Yelchin. It's very good. It's from the early noughties. He plays a high school student who starts dealing drugs, but like study drugs too. I can't remember exactly why he does. I'm just, but that's very good. And
fun fact: Timothée Chalamet does that in Hot Summer Nights, the film that A24 buried last year. Seek out.
But yeah, like Charlie Bartlett and maybe a little bit of Wonder Boys as well, I love Wonder Boys. Fantastic film with Robert Downey Jr. and Tobey Maguire and Michael Douglas. All the Michaels today on this podcast. But yeah, I mean...
What would you say for recommendability, Hannah? Don't be afraid. I know.
I can take it.
Ella's got her daggers out.
It's like a 3 for me. Like Ella says, I think it's quite hard to object to. If I knew someone... who particularly liked Timothée Chalamet, I'd say, you should definitely watch this if you've not already seen it. I think for kind of teenagers who, have that like sort of looking for something that speaks to that wanting to belongness. I mean, it's not my cup of tea, but it's a perfectly inoffensive film. There's nothing that I wasn't annoyed watching it.
Sure. Helen?
I mean, it's kind of a 3, but I'm going to give it a 3.5.
You can go to decimal places, by the way. Cool. As many as you want.
For old Timothée in that, and it is 86 minutes, so even it's
your life's not over.
Yeah,
in many ways, it
is a little bit of a strange film because it doesn't quite have, like the kind of Wes Anderson kind of quirkiness, and then it doesn't have sort of the mainstreamy Little Miss Sunshiny kind of vibe. Definitely it's the safe and niceness, I think.
I'm going to go a bit lower than you guys. I'm going 2.5 because for a coming of age thing, one film I loved last year was a couple of years ago was Edge of 17, for example.
Great film.
with.
I love that film. It took me a minute there. I was like, with Haley Steinfeld.
Yeah,
amazing film.
And Woody Harrelson, for example. And that's kind of.
Oh my god, I forgot he's a teacher, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a teacher in it.
And Me and Elle and the Dying Girl.
Exactly. Me and Elle and the Dying Girl. That's So
John
that's
Bernthal.
Like, they're kind of. I guess
this is now the Hannah and the Old Man She Likes podcast. But I know
Olivia
what you mean.
Cook, So those are kind of my touch points for modern coming of age films where there's a bit of heart to it. And so Me and Elle and the Dying Girl, for example, that's like leaps and bounds for me ahead of this. And in terms of road trip type thing, it wasn't really a road trip feel to it, apart from they were in their car for a bit, so I wouldn't take that out.
They were on a trip.
They just drove.
And they said, are you a lesbian?
That bit, Wow.
So, 2.5, because I just don't really feel there's that much punch to it. And, most of that 2.5 was for T-shells.
T-shells.
Repeat viewing score. Ella, how many times have you seen this so far?
This was my second time watching it.
Okay.
But I think I'd go for a 4 again, just because I think that it's the kind of thing that once you're in and you've seen it, I don't think the strengths of the film rely on shock or any kind of sensations, frankly. I think it's all very solid and built in, and it's like the work of the actors and the script. And if that works for you the first time, great. And I think it maintains that however many times you rewatch it. It makes me feel really nice and calm, so I'd rewatch it.
I probably wouldn't rewatch it. I feel like I got everything out of it that I needed to get out of it. So it's like a 2 for me.
2?
Yeah. I mean, if it was on, I wouldn't. If it was on a plane and there was nothing else,
If that was the only film.
What kind of program is this?
Hannah, are you saying that
it would on Ella's Airlines?
You can pick from 3 films. Call Me by Your Name, Lady Bird, or Miss Stevens.
I'd watched the other 2 before this.
Okay, I chose
Paul. I have them on loop.
What about if it's Interstellar or this?
Interstellar. Obs.
Okay, you win this round.
Helen, repeat me.
I mean, I'm unlikely to watch this again, but again, if it was on, it's 86 minutes. I'm going to go for a 1.
Putting a lot of kudos into that time there. I'm going to go for a 1.
Ella. I'm so sorry.
I can understand. I think honestly, if you like it because of the time and because it's kind of unassuming, and you could pop it on. If you liked it, then you could pop it on pretty much any time, and you'd be like, "Yeah, let's deal with it." I like the idea of the plane watching, but it wouldn't be the first film you put on the plane. It'd be like when you're feeling
How many films would you need?
It'd be like you're a bit tired and you just want something to kind of while the time went. If you fell asleep, you're just happy pausing it or rewinding it when you wake up again.
I've been doing some 12-hour flights recently, and it's that's like a 3 film. When I get to the 3rd film, that's what I stick on.
That's kind of things happening,
because it's 86 minutes. So
small screen score. I feel I might get a few points here.
Yeah, I think it. I'm just diving straight in there. I'm like, small screens.
Ella,
let me tell you guys, it gets a few points here.
Does it? Are you saying it's fit for IMAX?
Well, honestly, I wouldn't want to see this film on IMAX.
I would.
and this is coming from someone who gave it a 4. No, I think it's a perfect small screen film.
Yeah.
Again, the strength in the faces, in the script, it's all very slight and small. And if anything, on a plane, I think it's the kind of film, if you watched it on a plane, I would kind of lean in a little bit to be like, wait, is that? It is. And they'd be like, oh, yeah, give me more of a performance. So 4.5, maybe? Maybe the big screen just for the soundtrack.
What was the soundtrack?
So it's the score rather.
Score, okay.
So it's composed by a composer called Rob Simonson, who I wasn't very familiar with his work at all and haven't been very familiar since. But I really wasn't expecting the score, and I thought it was so beautiful, and it sounds like quite ethereal, and then there's this really beautiful like piano theme which is all tinkly and very light and airy at the beginning, and then there are these moments within the score where it sounds out of this world, quite literally. No, I'm not just saying it sounds nice. And I'm fairly sure that he's using a theremin, which is a very strange instrument that they use actually in First Man this year.
Yeah. They was used loads of that.
Yeah, and it's like the electronic
Spectacular
instruments.
Now.
Score for Foxcatcher.
The way
Right.
back. Way back.
Yeah. But yeah, I wasn't familiar with his. Well, I didn't know of him by name before, and honestly, I listen to the soundtrack all the time, and I love it. But so it's for that I would quite like to see it on a big screen, to have that really loud.
How does it work for when you're working?
I think I love it. It's very soothing.
Good working music.
Yeah. Because there's no lyrics. It's not too there's
Aggressive.
no
it's not
drums,
like a Trent
cymbals.
Reznor, an Atticus Ross,
Absolutely
where you're like,
not.
But I really like working to the social network. I think
I do that.
I do sometimes. But then I think
you have to be in the right headspace.
Yeah,
though.
I think this one, it's quite nice for maybe a Monday morning when you're not quite awake, but you need something to kind of put you in a kind of a bit of a
It's not
zone.
like 3 a.m. Red Bull vibes, which is what the social network is.
Yeah, exactly. Right. But yeah, would recommend working to this.
Hannah, small screen score.
Yeah, I think it's like a 4 on small screens for me. It's, I think it's the kind of film that works well on a small screen. It doesn't have like a lot of impressive visuals that you would need to be kind of at a cinema for. I didn't feel like I needed to be more immersed in it, which I often do.
Adequately immersed.
I have like a very short attention span. So I do prefer to watch things at the cinema where possible, just because it shames me into not getting my phone out halfway through. Whereas this, 86 minutes is like, as we all keep saying.
It's just you and Helen.
But I think that's a really good amount of time for a small screen film, because you don't have to keep pausing it to go wander off and do something else. You can just sort of sit down an hour and a half and get it done. So yeah.
Would you pause it though? I'd just kind of walk out the room and let it do what it's doing.
No, because you're going to miss something. Because it's only 86 minutes.
Helen, small screen score.
I'm going to give it a 4. I mean, it's one of those kind of films that if you're a fan, then you can go back and find it. But it's interesting what you're saying about the score, because I thought it could have done with a big song. I know it's got its big song, but it's so not really that kind of big song that it should be.
What's this big song?
So it's America, isn't it?
So
the band America.
Yeah, the band's I can't remember what the name of the song is, but it plays in the car.
Oh yeah, their favourite. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of thought
They
it
could have
needed...
done with the Dire Straits. What's up? Like in Cameron Post.
It just
that's what they could have done with.
Was that a Dire Straits version? Was it?
Not Dire Straits. Sorry,
Four
Four
Non-Blondes.
Non-Blondes. Oh, that's embarrassing.
I was like, this is a cool movie.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, it doesn't have that big musical. It tries to have that big musical moment, but it does it with a song that's not quite that big enough to give its emotional, that song.
Yeah, I'm going to go for 5.
Yes.
Nothing wrong with it. If I'd seen it in cinema, I would have been 8 less plussed.
Oh, Thank God, this is Flixwatcher.
Engagement score, Ella.
I think I'll go a bit lower on this one, but I mean that in a very positive sense. I like the fact...
Lower is better.
Yes. Just going to establish that now. No, I like the fact that I think it's quite a low pressure film, and if I wanted to get up and make a cup of tea, I'd be fine, and I could come back to it and still have a lovely time and feel even better because I had a cup of tea. So I'd go for maybe like a 3.5.
Cool. Hannah.
Yeah, I think maybe a 3.5. I didn't feel like I needed to kind of sit down and pay attention to it like I would, what have I seen recently that I had a hard time with? So many things. There are some films that just you feel like you need to kind of pay more attention because you're going to miss something if you look away. In
Serenity.
fact, Serenity's a whole different kettle of fish, I was going to say, but yeah, no, it really is. But what's it? Manchurian Candidate. I watched that recently, and and the tagline of that film is, "If you walk in 5 minutes late, you won't know what's going on." And it's true. You wouldn't, because it's.
How was that a tagline for a film? That's horrific.
It was like the 40s. It was the 40s. That's what they did.
Which version?
The original one.
Okay.
Not this. What Ryan Gosling and.
Not the Denzel Washington one.
I quite like that.
I think that was the Spike Lee remake.
Oh, was it?
I don't know. Anyway,
what am I thinking with Ryan Gosling and George Clooney?
In
The Ides of March.
Yeah,
Ides of March. Yeah.
But they did remake the Manchurian Candidate. But anyway, no. It's the kind of film where if I had to leave off and do something,
you
I would
blink
go back
and you
in.
miss someone killing 8 people and posting a letter to the future or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Or excuse me, I watched Looper on a plane recently, and I was like, I had to be engrossed the whole time. So I was like, I don't know what's going on. If I like look away, I've got no idea. Whereas this was like, okay, I have a very strong idea of what is happening in this film. I don't have to, it's not, Ella's like, just...
No, I'm listening.
Furious.
I'm
giving
listening.
it a fine engagement score. It was fine. It's fine.
Helen?
I feel like we should kind of offer some kind of therapy at the end. We should rebuild. I might
Rebuild
build
friendship.
friendships.
It might be time for a 7th viewing of the
I'm going to give it 4. I was, engaged in all of its 86 minutes. I think if it had been a bit longer, I would have been, a little bit like, where's this going? We should have wrapped it up. But yeah, it's short and.
When you go on 90-minute film 90-minute or less film fest, is this going to be in contention for your consideration? Okay. Okay.
Sorry.
I'm going to go for 3.2.
So specific.
A lot of it was like.
Where did the 0.3 go? What have we done
wrong? It was just not quite 3.5, and I just kept on thinking, I don't know where this is going. And then also,
you didn't know where it was going.
It's exciting.
Because I didn't know. I thought he was trying to get off with the teacher, and then didn't look like that was going to happen.
Tim would never.
Did you think he might have tried to kill himself or something? I thought that could have made it a bit more exciting.
Could have been, it could have been part of that.
Could have been
because there was that foreshadowing with the teacher, with the principal. It's like, we're really happy for this to go ahead, apart from one student.
Yeah, they do go quite deep on that, and they're like, he's a troubled child.
Yeah, and at the time I thought it was going to be like a coach load of people, but you just take care of that one kid and everything. But when there was just 3 in a car, I just thought,
why did they do that pep talk? From Oscar from The Office for some reason.
So, what did I say? 3.2. If Chalamet hadn't had his bit, I would have been, bit disappointed. So we got an overall score of 3.29, which is not bad at all.
Fine. Yeah.
Not bad at all. It puts it in the same kind of ballpark as
lots of other ones.
Birdcage, which I think
I mean, they're completely different
on the face
films.
it was a better film. So it loses points mainly in repeat viewing, I think, is the thing there. But 3.3 I think is decent. Bravo. It didn't look like it was going to go that way, to be honest.
Everyone.
Because you guys are here from Little White Lies, we'd like to do the Little White Lies scores.
Do you need me to tell you how this works?
Can you let us know and listeners know how they work for people who don't read Little White Lies or listen to Truth in Movies?
Yeah, for people who don't do that, please save print journalism. But yeah, the Little White Lies scoring system. It is a I think we use what multi-tier scoring system is the fancy way of saying it, but it just means we give 3 scores for each film. So they're all out of 5, and there is anticipation, enjoyment, and in retrospect.
So, Ella, do you want to lead us off?
Sure. So in anticipation, I was really looking forward to rewatching this. I had a lovely experience first watching it, and also I was looking forward to introducing it to all of my friends and my mother. And, we've all had a great time. So 4, I'd say. Sure. Enjoyment, also 4. For me, it's just really solid. And 4s across the board, frankly. I understand the problems, but not for me.
Hannah?
Maybe a 3 in anticipation. I don't really know much about it apart from friends of mine quite liked it. But I don't like Lily Reinhart, so I wasn't thrilled about having to watch her.
Was it her or her character you didn't like?
It's both. I don't like her on Riverdale either. Sorry. Anyway, so 3, and then enjoyment 3. It pretty much lived up to my expectations.
Yeah. And middle of the road.
Yeah, middle of the road. And then enjoyment. In retrospect. 3. I bear this film no ill will.
What are your thoughts, Ellen?
So I'm going to give it a 4 for anticipation, enjoyment 3.5, and a 3 for retrospect.
I think you have to. Is it round? Going to have 3.5s?
We don't allow half places. No.
Or 4, 3, and 3 then.
I think I'm gonna equal your 4, 3, and 3 because when I saw it, when you recommended it, A, not hearing about it, and B, T-Charles is in it. I thought I'm looking forward to watching this.
Those are pretty respectable scores. Yeah. I think a 3 for Little White Lies is pretty good.
Yeah.
You know.
So can you guys let us know where we can find you online and say bye to Jasper, who's listening?
Jasper. You can find me on Twitter. I am a prolific tweeter. Some have said I tweet too much, but I can't be stopped. I am at good
Keep
job.
tweeting.
I love tweeting, and it's got to the point now where people say to me, I get emails when you tweet now because Twitter thinks I'm interested. So I'm so sorry. But yeah, I'm at Good Job Liz there. And if you can name the film that is a reference to, you get a special bonus prize from me. Not really, but it is a film reference. And you can find me on littlewhitelies.com. You can find me in the magazine, all over that, or on the Truth in Movies podcast.
Fantastic.
Excellent. Well, Jasper, I hope you take care of Tim. Please, treat him kindly. He's going through a lot in this film. But to everyone else as well, you can find me on Twitter. I am at EFE Kemp. You can read me on Culture Whisper, Little White Lies sometimes Sight and Sound, and sometimes you might hear me on the Curzon Film Podcast.
Cool.
Lovely.
Thanks very much.
Coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Bye. Bye. Thanks as always, guys, for listening to this episode of Flixwatcher Podcast. Take a moment to hit subscribe on your favourite podcast app, and also leave us a little cheeky review, because that really helps us. It really does. Also, do find us on social media. We are on Twitter at FlixWatcherPod, and also Instagram, just at Flixwatcher.
Special thanks to our awesome editor, Brendan Russell, for making this episode sound so sweet. And thanks to the mighty people for the tunes you can hear.